Hi all. Today we are going to take a look at a very different topic. We looked at concentration inequalities in last few lectures. The topic from today would be stochastic processes. Till now we have seen randomized experiment which had some outcome, let's say X. This was modeled as a random variable. In some situations, we also saw a sequence of such experiments, randomized experiments, and we said, oh, they are modeled by x1, x2, xn. But in all these cases, these variables were either pairwise independent or mutually independent. Unfortunately, in most of the situations in real life, when we want to model a randomized process, this independence is not given to us. So there can be many situations. We want to model rainfall every year. We might want to look at stock prices, movement of stock prices. This is almost a continuous process. Then we might want to look at traffic on a road and so on. These are all sequences of random variables which affect each other. The problem is that they are not independent. In general, such a thing is called a stochastic process, which is just a sequence of random experiments. And this is what we encounter. More formally, a stochastic process is modeled by a family of random variables, where I is the index set. You can also think of t as the time variable or a timestamp, and xt gives the outcome or the value at time t. More importantly, all of these random variables have the same state space. We should be careful here. The state space I am talking about is not the same as the one which we generally talk about. Normally, we say that a random variable is from omega to real number, and this we call as state space. Things are going to be slightly different in this lecture. We will say that a random variable is going from omega to s, where s is some general set, and we will call this as the state. So this is going to be the new state space. We already mentioned when we were talking about random variables that the range need not be a real number. In today's discussion and future 2 or 3 days, we will say that the range of the random variable is some set S, which we call as the state space. So a stochastic process is a sequence of random variables. We call them, we model them as in some index set I with some timestamp such that all of them have the same states. You have already seen examples which we talked about. You can think of stock prices movement. You can talk about rainfall every year. You can talk about traffic on a road every day. All these are examples of stochastic processes. And you see that these x1 to xn are not independent. Clearly, the value of the stock price at xn minus 1, let's say at the day xn minus 1, affects the value at xn, similarly rainfall and things like that. So they are mostly not independent. The state space of these random variables could be discrete or continuous. Mostly will be interested in cases when the state space is discrete. So the value of the random variable which we get is a discrete space. I can talk about probability that my random variables take these particular values. So notice that these small xk plus 1, xk, these are elements of the state space. So if I want to calculate this probability in the most general situation, this is going to be probability xk plus 1 given xk is equal to xk up to x0 is equal to x0 multiplied by probability xk is equal to xk, given xk minus 1 is equal to xk minus 1 up to x0 is equal to x0 multiplied with probability x0 is equal. It's probably easy to see this thing from the reverse side. The probability that I have xk plus 1 is equal to small xk plus 1, xk equal to small xk, and so on is probability that I get x0 is equal to x0, then probability that I get x1 is equal to small x1 given x0 is equal to x0, and so on. So you see that the random variable xk plus 1 is dependent on all xk, xk minus 1 up to x0. All these values determine the value of xk plus 1. This is the most general setting and it's very hard to take care of such a stochastic. We will look at a special class of stochastic processes called Markov processes. They are not the most general ones, but a special class and are very helpful in modeling different real world situations. So we will let go of generality but still be able to model many diverse situations. And that's the use of Markov processes. So what is this special class? You remember that in general, if I want to write this probability, it's pretty complicated. You start with probability that x0 is equal to x0. You multiply with probability that x1 is equal to small x1 given x0 is equal to x0, so on, and then probability that xk plus 1, xk plus 1 given xk is equal to small xk. So it depends on everything. The simplest version of this was when all these random variables were independent. So when they were independent, this formula looked very simple. This probability, the same thing, if these random variables were independent, this would only be multiplication of these probabilities, and I will drop the conditions because these are independent. The first one is most general but very hard to deal with. This one is very easy to deal with but doesn't model many situations. We go somewhere in between. Markov process is the one where if I look at this probability, I don't have to worry. So I start with the same thing. And this is x0 is equal to x0 conditional. But when I look at the higher ones, this probability only depends on the value of xk and nothing else. So you see the difference between these quantities. So when I'm looking at the probability of xk plus 1, it only depends on the value of xk and nothing in the past. Other way to say it is that the value of future random variables only depend on the value at the present. This needs some clarification. This is not saying that xk plus 1 is independent of x1, x0, x2, etc. This is not what we are saying. The value of xk plus 1 only depends on value of xk. Other way to say it is that xk plus 1 given xk is independent of x0, x1, x2. So take some time and make sure that you understand this difference. The property which we want to emphasize is that probability xk plus 1 is equal to small xk plus 1 given xk is equal to xk up to this conditional probability is independent of everything except the last value. This is the definition for Markov process. And obviously this should happen for all k. It does not make sense if we don't give some examples. Clearly, if xi are independent, then they are a Markov process. But let's take another example which is non-trivial. Say you are looking at the games or cricket matches between India and Pakistan, where win probability, obviously of India, is zero point 0.6 and losing probability is 0.4. Now they play a series of matches, and again this probability does not change when they play a series of matches. In every match, India wins with probability zero point 0.6, loses with probability zero point 0.4. And let's say xi, or let me change the variable, yi is the number of matches won by India. In this case, you can see that this variable yi only depends on the value of yi minus 1, because the ith match is independent of whatever has happened before. So once I know that how much India has won after I minus 1 matches, that's enough for me to give the probability distribution for yi. In general, as an exercise, you can show that if x1 to xn are independent, then if I define the random variable yi to be j equal to 1 to I xi, then yi is a Markov